something that is often not talked about. Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein. A lot of you guys tell me I want them both. Run it back. Keep them both on this team. It's a good idea. But running it back has its issues. But Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, a lot of people like to see them together, but nobody likes to talk about them apart or separately. And that's what I want to talk about now, because if the Knicks trade Mitchell Robinson, do you guys know that their offseason gets a lot easier? OG Anunoby, easier to resign him. Isaiah Hartenstein, easier to resign him if they don't have Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson is not the hugest or biggest problem on this team. I'm not saying that he is. If anything, he helps this Knicks team when he's on the floor, at least defensively. Offensively, he is very limited. Even though a lot of people tell me in the comments, Thibs doesn't use him right, we don't throw him any lob threats or anything like that. I understand that we don't utilize him right, but under head coach Tom Thibodeau, what would you expect your centers to be doing? Because that's exactly what he wants his centers to do. Clean up the glass and basically have put back dunks whenever the ball is in a rebound situation, and you can do that. That's all he wants his centers to do. So you really can't blame, Mitchell Robinson for not having that offensive game. I can blame the Knicks, though, for not really developing his offensive game throughout the years. Because look at Isaiah Hartenstein. He really didn't have an offensive game for the Knicks when he came here. But slowly and surely, he went ahead and had that floater game added to it. And he kept hitting those floater shots. One shot after another shot after another shot. And every time he hit one of those floaters, it was one of the best things to see, because you saw defenders run toward him, collapse toward him, the paint got open more, and the corners got open more. That's what the Knicks need to have. They need some offense from their center position. Hart gives you that right now. And he gives you similar defense, definitely not the same, but similar defense to Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson gives you the best defense on the Knicks right now in terms of any player. But offensively, because of his limitations and because Hart is not too far away from him in terms of defense, I think Robinson is the odd man out. And I think he's likely going to get traded this offseason if the right star becomes available, because that helps the Knicks in so many ways moving forward. And like we already heard, the Knicks plan on being active on draft night. They want to draft the player. And I think, depending on what they do on draft night, if they draft a power forward center or some player like that, I think we could probably say goodbye to Mitchell Robinson, because I think that center that they draft would likely be the player that replaces him. And then you keep Isaiah Hartenstein. You have that rookie on a more controllable contract, I would say. More like, the contract itself is not something as high as Mitchell Robinson's contract, but it's a contract that is so controllable, so cost controlled, that you're thinking to yourself in a couple of years, I got a center like this in the draft? Yes, because talent exists there. People don't want to acknowledge the fact that when you go to the draft, that's where you get the best players. Sometimes if you do your scouting properly, the Knicks, to all their credit, has done that in the second round. Sometimes in the first round, they just haven't done what they needed to do, missing key players here and there. And I'm not only talking about Leon Rose. We're talking about a lot of front offices for the Knicks missing this player, that player. I can go back to Donovan Mitchell. I can go back to Mikal Bridges. There have been a lot of players like that, but this is what we're talking about here today. Let's see here. BL says, I think we should run this back. However, Mitch has more player value on the trade market. We should move forward from him. I think I agree with that 100%. Right now, Mitchell Robinson has helped us get here. But now Isaiah Hartenstein has stepped up, and he showed us he can be that player. He can show up and show out for us. And now that we know that, Mitchell Robinson is expendable. He can be traded if the right player becomes available, either via draft or via trade. The Knicks have to be the ones to make that decision. And in my opinion, they should ride with Hart and they should trade Mitchell Robinson. His time has already come. We do not need a backup that has so many injuries. Do you think the Knicks need a backup on that bench that likely is going to be injured for most of the season? Because if that's the case, we're going to likely need a backup for the backup. A backup for your backup? We're talking craziness here. It doesn't make sense. I hope the Knicks do move on from Mitchell Robinson, but only if they get the right player back from him. You say, we appreciate you putting in the work to give us Knicks content. I don't think the Knicks can keep two centers pulling $30 million a year. Keep iHeart. Man, you know what? Going back to that iHeart and Mitchell Robinson situation, I got to agree with you, Britton. I think that if you had to choose right now, and it does break my heart to say this, I'm a Mitchell Robinson fan. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate in the comments just because people feel like I don't like Mitchell Robinson. I do. I'm a fan of his. He's a defensive juggernaut. He's so good. I was so upset when he was injured. Trust me, I was. But we're looking at the team, guys, right? And if we're looking at the team, we have to be honest. What makes sense for this team? What fits better? Who fits better? It's iHeart. He plays offensively better. Defensively, he's not that much different than Mitchell Robinson. Robinson is, of course, the best defender on the Knicks right now. But Isaiah Hartenstein is probably second. That's not too bad, especially when you have an offensive game like his. And he helps a lot more on the passing side of the game. He passes with some of the best bigs in the league. So you take all of that into account. What do you get? You get your starting center being iHeart, and you get Mitchell Robinson, if the right trade becomes available, being traded. Because that's what needs to happen for this Knicks team to move forward. That's what needs to happen for this Knicks team to get better. A lot of people won't want to acknowledge that. But if you have a backup that's normally injured a lot, are you better next season or are you worse? That's what I'm saying, guys. That's my whole point on it. So I apologize if you don't agree with that point of view, but honestly, that's how I feel about it. You already have a team that is built for contention now. All you need to do is make the right additions. So please go to the draft, look who's available, and then based off of that, fill in the void, fill in the gaps. And then when you're done, identify what's remaining, re-sign the players you need to re-sign, and then go out and get that player in free agency or trade for that star. But that's the way you need to go about it. Do not go about it this way. Do not try and think and see, well, maybe, I can try to go forward with both of these centers and then bring in another rookie, try to develop him, and then he can be the backup like Jericho Sims is. Right. Because we see how promising Jericho Sims' career is right now, playing backup to the backup. We don't need players like that. You need somebody who can come in right away and have an impact. So those are the players I'm looking for. Those are the targets that are realistic, in my opinion. And right now, there is nobody in free agency that, in my opinion, is realistic for the Knicks. In terms of trades right now, we don't really know who's going to be available until that list comes out come this offseason. We kind of have an understanding of certain stars and the fact that they're going to be available because we already know they don't want to stay with their franchise. But apart from them, we have to wait till that disgruntled star list becomes available before we make moves. If you enjoyed these clips from the live show, be sure to subscribe to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss any new episodes or when we go live. Thanks for watching, Knicks fans, and until next time, peace.